Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually when we're sitting down here, we are surrounded by, a massive metaphorical stack of quarterly reports or maybe,
Right? Or those dense white papers on artificial
yeah,
intelligence.
exactly,
Yeah.
or some heavy biography of a misunderstood historical figure. We spend a lot of time looking for the next big thing or trying to spot trends in the data.
Which is valuable, of course. I mean, we love patterns here.
We do. We love our patterns. But today, the data set we're looking at is, it's different.
Very different.
It's a sample size of exactly two. We aren't analyzing a market shift today. We are analyzing a very specific, singular articulation of devotion.
Yeah, and our source material for this isn't a PDF or a study. It's a piece of poetry.
Right. A dedicated piece titled Madhuri, the Divine Grace of My Life.
And I'm actually really excited about this pivot for us. Because if you think about it, the most complex negotiation humans ever engage in isn't a trade deal.
Definitely not.
It's the attempt to explain to another person exactly what they mean to us. It's like the emotional architecture of a relationship.
Oh, emotional architecture. I like that phrase. And this specific piece, on the surface, it's just a four-line composition.
Right. What you might call a shayari in South Asian culture.
Exactly. A shayari followed by a very brief sign-off. But the linguistic density here is just incredible. It's this incredibly fluid mix of high-register Urdu, traditional Hindi, and then suddenly very casual English.
It's almost like a linguistic fingerprint of a modern relationship,
Yeah.
right? Because we don't just speak one language anymore, especially in love.
Yeah,
We borrow the words that fit the feeling best, regardless of where they come from.
exactly. So the mission for today isn't just to look at this and say, oh, that's sweet.
No, we're going deeper than that.
Right. We want to really unpack how this author constructs a reality where his wife Madhuri isn't just a partner, but a cosmic necessity.
A cosmic necessity. I love that.
We're going to look at the emotional way, the theology, the mythology, and the psychology buried in just these four lines.
And remember, it's a direct address from a husband to his wife.
Yeah.
The title alone, the divine grace of my life, it sets the stakes right out of the gate.
It really does.
We aren't in the realm of happy anniversary, honey. We are firmly in the realm of the sacred here.
So let's just get right into the text. The poem opens with a line that creates this massive theological precedent. He writes, Khuda ne badi, shidath se banai hai ek haseen pari.
Okay, stop right there. Let's just pause because the weight of that entire sentence is resting entirely on one specific word.
Shidath.
Yes, shidath. Now, I've heard this word in Bollywood movies, right? Usually when someone is, dying of love or obsessing over a lost lover, it's often translated as intensity or passion.
Right, but that feels a bit weak for what's actually happening here.
It really does feel weak.
Shidath implies a severity. It's an extreme degree of effort and focus. When he says God Khuda created her with badi shidath, he's challenging the very randomness of existence. Yeah, because most of us, if we're humble, think of our birth as a bit of a biological lottery. We're here because of genetics and sheer chance.
Exactly.
But this line argues the exact opposite. It suggests that the Creator didn't just toss her together. It implies almost a labor.
A labor of love, specifically. It's the difference between mass production and a master craftsman staying up for 3 nights straight to finish a masterpiece.
Right.
It implies deep intentionality. The author is basically telling Madhuri, you are not an accident, you are a project.
Which is a heavy compliment. You're saying God had to focus really, really hard to get you right.
Totally.
And then he describes the result of all that effort. Ek haseen pari, a beautiful fairy.
Now this is interesting because he starts with Khuda, which is an Urdu term for the divine, and then moves to pari, which is a Persian and Urdu concept of a fairy or this ethereal being.
Yeah.
He's immediately lifting her out of the human realm right from the opening.
It completely sets a tone of reference. I mean, you don't ask a Peri to take out the trash.
Right, you admire a Peri.
But what really strikes me is that if you start your poem by saying your wife is a magical being created by God's intense passion, where do you even go from there?
You've kind of peaked.
Yeah, you've totally maxed out the compliments in line 1.
Well, that's the narrative challenge of the piece. If line 1 is about her origin story, the creation myth, then line 2 has to be about her interaction with the timeline.
It has to move from the heavens down to earth.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happens. The second line reads, Jinki aagaz se meri zindagi mein khushiya hai bhari.
Meaning, whose arrival filled my life with happiness.
The word that really jumps out at me here is aagaz.
Yes.
It means commencement or beginning or arrival. but it feels so much heavier than just a start. It sounds like the curtain rising on a grand play.
It marks a definitive before and after. In narrative psychology, we actually talk about this. We call them crystallization points.
Okay, let's unpack that.
There are moments where the story fundamentally changes direction. He is identifying her aagaz as the single specific point in time where his life shifted from grayscale to full color.
And look at the phrasing he uses. Meri, zindagi and khushiya bhari. Happiness is filled in.
Yeah.
It makes me think of chemistry almost. Like his life was a beaker of some completely neutral liquid, and she was the catalyst that turned the whole thing gold.
That's a really great analogy because it implies that he was the vessel, but she was the substance.
Right.
It's a very vulnerable admission when you think about it. He isn't just saying we are happy together. He's saying I was empty, or at least incomplete, and you brought the happiness with you into my existence.
It credits her as the literal carrier of joy. It's external to him.
Which brings up a fascinating dynamic in long-term relationships. We often talk about interdependence, but this is a pure acknowledgement of profound influence.
Yeah.
He's admitting that his emotional baseline is entirely dependent on her presence.
Now, some people might hear that and call it codependency, but in the context of shiari or romantic poetry, it's the ultimate validation. You are the architect of my joy.
Precisely. But here's where the poem does something really interesting structurally. We've had the divine creation, we've had the personal impact. Now in the third line, the camera zooms out.
Way out.
Way, way out.
We go from his living room to the cosmos. Line 3 says, Sari kaayenath mevo hai sabse aziz or sabse pyari.
In the entire universe, she is the most precious and the most beloved.
Sari kaayenath. The whole universe.
He is establishing a massive hierarchy here. And this actually touches on something psychologists call positive illusions.
Oh, I love this concept. Break this down for the listener.
So research by people like Sandra Murray and John Holmes suggests that in the absolute most successful relationships, partners hold positive illusions about each other.
Meaning they don't just see them as good.
Right. They see their partner not just as good, but as objectively better than everyone else.
So when he says she is Sab's Aziz, the most precious in the universe, a cynic would look at that and say, come on, really? Better than everyone. Better than the Taj Mahal. Better than pizza.
Right, right. The cynic calls it hyperbole. But the psychologist looks at it and says, no, for this relationship to function at this elite level, he has to believe that is the literal truth.
It's not a lie to him.
It's not a lie. It's a subjective reality.
Yeah.
In his map of the cosmos, she sits at the very top, period.
It's a ranking system with a sample size of one that actually matters.
Exactly. And look at the specific superlatives he uses. Aziz means dear, precious, rare. Pyari implies affection and lovability.
Oh, he's hitting both angles.
He's saying she ranks highest in value with Aziz and highest in emotional resonance with Pyari.
That is a really bold claim. He's basically standing in front of the universe and saying, I've checked everything else out and you win.
And that winning sets us up for the landing.
Yeah.
Because right now, think about where we are. She's a fairy. She's the source of all joy. She's the queen of the universe.
She's completely untouchable.
Exactly. The poem is almost too high up in the clouds. It needs to ground itself.
And boy, does it ground itself in the fourth line. This is actually my favorite part of the entire piece because the linguistic shifts are just wild here. Line 4 reads, Arvo hai meri ardhangini sweetheart Madhuri.
There is so much packed into that one single sentence. We have Sanskrit heritage, English modernity, and specific naming all just colliding together.
Let's start with the heavy hitter in that line, ardhangini.
Yes. If you put ardhangini into Google Translate, it spits out wife.
Yeah.
And it's just tragic. It's a tragic loss of meaning.
It's like translating Ferrari as vehicle. You're entirely missing the point.
Ardhangini is a compound word. Ardha means half, and anga means body. It literally means half of the body.
And this goes back to mythology, right?
It goes incredibly deep. It connects to the concept of Ardhanarishvara, which is the composite form of Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati.
Right.
It's a deity that is literally depicted as half man and half woman, split right down the middle.
That is such a powerful visual image. It's not two people holding hands, it's one singular being.
Exactly. It reminds me a bit of Aristophanes' speech in Plato's Symposium. The idea that humans were originally two-headed, four-armed creatures that were split in half by the gods.
Oh, the split soul theory.
Right. And now we wander the earth looking for our other half. But Ardhangini takes it a step further because it implies a spiritual and physical unity that supersedes the individual.
Yeah.
By calling her his Ardhangini, he isn't citing a legal marriage contract. He's saying, you are the other half of my existence.
Hmm.
Without you, I am functionally incomplete.
It's heavy, it's ancient, it carries the weight of thousands of years of tradition and culture. And then immediately after dropping this massive Sanskrit theological bomb, what does he call her?
Sweetheart,
Sweetheart. In English.
it's such a brilliant code switch.
Why do you think he did that? I mean, why not use another Urdu or Hindi word like mehbooba or John?
I think it's entirely about intimacy and accessibility. Ardhangini is reverent. It's what you say in a temple. Sweetheart is what you say across the breakfast table.
That makes perfect sense.
Sweetheart is playful. It's modern. It immediately breaks the tension of the divine.
It humanizes her. It's like he's saying, yes, you are the goddess Parvati to me, but you're also the cute girl I just like to hang out with.
And that is the duality of a modern marriage. You need both. You absolutely need the spiritual connection of the Ardhangini and the easy friendship of the sweetheart.
Because if you only have the goddess, it's too distant.
Right. And if you only have the sweetheart, it lacks depth. He bridges that entire gap in just 3 words.
And then finally he names her Madhuri.
The destination of the whole piece. We started with the ethereal fairy in line. 1 moved to the vast universe in line. 3 came down to the half-body in line. 4, and finally landed on Madhuri.
It acts like a funnel. He takes all this massive cosmic energy and pours it into one specific, real human being. It anchors the entire poem. It's not a poem about abstract love. It's a poem about her.
And names have power. By naming her at the very end, he's identifying the exact source of all that magic. He's saying this isn't an abstract concept, it's you.
So you think that's the end, right? He said it all. He's elevated her to the heavens and brought her back down to earth. But there was a footnote to this piece. A postscript.
The sign-off.
Beneath the verses, there is a very simple line, "Love you, dear."
Now, you could look at that and say, well, that's a bit anticlimactic. We just had Khuda and kaayenath and ardhangini. Love you, dear feels like a quick text message.
But I feel like that contrast is exactly the point.
I agree completely. It's the ultimate return to earth.
Because you can't live in the high poetry 24/7. You can't sustain the energy of a composite deity while you're doing the taxes or washing the dishes. You need the love you, dear.
It's the stability after the passion. The poem is the tuxedo. The love you, dear, is the sweatpants.
The sweatpants, yes.
And true love requires both. You need the capacity for the grand, breathtaking gesture, but you survive on the small, consistent, casual affirmations.
It grounds the divine directly in the domestic. It tells me that this isn't just a performance of love for an audience. It's a daily practice.
That is a really beautiful distinction, a performance versus a practice. The poem is the performance, and the sign-off is the practice.
So when we step back and look at this entire deep dive, which again was just 4 lines and a short sign-off, what is the big takeaway here? Because we aren't poets. Most of our listeners aren't writing shiari in mixed languages.
I think the real nugget here is about the courage of articulation.
Say a bit more about that.
We live in an era of shorthand. We use emoji to react. We double-tap a photo to like it. We say love you or summy.
Yeah.
We have become very, very efficient at signaling affection. But I think we have lost some of the art of truly describing it.
We just assume the other person knows how we feel.
Exactly. We assume. We
Okay.
think she knows.
Yeah.
I love her. I take out the trash, don't I? But this author, he didn't assume anything.
Yeah.
He took the time to find the words. He dug into his vocabulary, into Urdu, Hindi, Sanskrit, and English, just to find the exact coordinates of his feelings.
He used that word we talked about, shidath, intensity and effort. He applied that extreme effort to the message itself.
And that is what elevates a relationship. It's the act of witnessing. When you describe someone with this level of specific detail, calling them a creation of passion, a carrier of joy, a universal treasure, you are witnessing them. You are telling them, I see you. I see your divinity.
And that's so rare today. We are often so busy just living our lives alongside our partners that we forget to stop and really see them.
It raises a pretty provocative question for everyone listening to this right now. When was the last time you articulated, not just felt, but really articulated the impact your partner has on your life?
Have you told them about their aagaz? Have you told them how their arrival completely changed your emotional baseline?
Because if you feel it, but you never give it language, does it have the same power?
Mm.
This source material suggests that the act of speaking it, of writing it down, is a creative act in itself. It makes the love realer.
It turns the fleeting emotion into an object that can be kept. Like this poem. This poem exists now. Madhuri can read this 10 years from now, 20 years from now. A quick text message disappears, but this remains.
It's a monument, a small four-line monument.
I love that. A monument to a specific person.
And you don't need to be a master poet to do it. You don't need to know High Urdu or ancient Sanskrit. You just need to be specific. The sweetheart part is just as important as the ardhangini part.
That is a great place to leave it. To you, our listener, consider the Madhuri in your own life, that person who brings that level of grace we've been talking about. Maybe today is the day you draft your own 4 lines. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be true.
Find your words.
Find your words.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this very different, very personal deep dive. We'll be back next time, probably with something that involves charts and graphs again, but I hope you carry a bit of this poetry with you into your week.
Until next time.
Take care, everyone.